Good evening, welcome to a sun-drenched Nosey Road. And Saints tomorrow are going down under in the morning on the second phase of the World Club Championship, still looking for a win. This evening the Saints entertain the Halifax Blue Sox. Let's hope they've the game in hand on the minds tonight and not one eye on the plane tomorrow morning. And obviously they're hoping to complete the first double of the season, having beaten Halifax at Thrummall on the 1st of June, 26-18, and maybe Halifax that day had their minds on going down under. Anyway, you're with Micron Video, we're bringing you all the action. My name's Ron Hoof, Darryl McCauley is with me, and we'll hand you over to Darryl just to go through the Halifax side for this evening.
Well, Halifax is strengthened by the return of Paul Rowley to the hooking position. John Schuster is a late withdrawal, so Dave Bouvenk moves into the centre position. Amanga at full-back, Tuilanga, Powell and Amoni join Bouvenk in the three quarters. Martin Moana at loose forward, and a surprise choice from John Pendlebury. Martin Pearson being picked at scrum half in favour of Craig Dean, perhaps to keep a closer eye, a bit bigger man on Bobby Goulding, making his return after 5 weeks out with a hernia. Carl Harrison, Paul Rowley, Richie Marshall the front row, Paul Light, Michael Jackson the second row, Simon Baldwin at loose forward, Craig Dean, Damien Munro, Alan Bouldright making his first appearance of the season. He's on loan, he played in the 18 success over St Helens at Thrummall on Thursday night, and Danny Seal on the bench just in case Paul Rowley doesn't hold up to it. And as you said, Ronnie, Saints already had the one victory over Halifax on that Sunday before they were due to fly to Australia. But the Saints team tonight has one or two more recognisable names from that defeat, because it was a team of young, inexperienced players who took the points on that.
Yes, there was a few youngsters in the side, Darryl, and I mean, at the end of the day, we've not had the best of seasons, have we, Outlook? But you've got to get on with it, haven't you? No matter who you put in your side, you've got to have the people to come in and replace the experts or the world-class players if they get injured. And unfortunately we haven't had that this season. There is some good players coming through. Anyway, the Saints team for this evening: Andy Haig at full-back, Danny Arnold, Alan Hunt, Paul Newlove and Anthony Sullivan, the three quarters, Sean Long, partners Bobby Goulding, as you said, back after 5-6 weeks out with a hernia operation. Ian Pickavance starts the game in the front row with Kieran Cunningham and Julian O'Neill. Andy Leatham injured. We've got Chris Joynt, Vila Metaltia and Carl Hammond in the back three, and there's Alan Hunt, who is sporting the old blonde locks, gingery blonde, as Bobby Goulding's had the blonde look as well, and it seems a few of them, I mean, it's all for going down under anyway, isn't it? Whereas Joey Hayes, Paul Anderson, Chris Morley and Derek McVie on the bench. The Blue Sox kick off, and Chris Joynt, a man in turmoil here at St Helens, looking for a transfer. It's on hold till he comes back from Australia, as Paul Newlove takes the ball up. But the old pie eaters are after Chris Joynt, and you can't blame them, can you? Obviously showing an interest. Bobby Goulding puts it out right. Andy Haig linking up from the full-back position into the three quarters, and the Halifax Blue Sox going to be tested early on, we hope. Ian Pickavance, as they in the start, usually used on the subs bench, but Saints moving it across. Chris Joynt again. Good tackling there by the Blue Sox. Sullivan at dummy half. Well, the Saints get away with it. Halifax come in and close them down and put the kicker off, but it's now with Mike Umanga.
Well, they put superb pressure on Goulding, and he was quick to get rid of the ball. Didn't want any more injury problems in the next 80 minutes, because he's no doubt be on the seat on the plane in the morning to Australia. And Halifax's first attack, Rowlett to Marshall, former St Helens Academy player Richard Marshall, still only 20, 21-year-old, and not doing a bad job in the absence of Wayne Jackson, who's still out having trouble with a groin injury, which aggravated down under. Long pass from Rowlett, another long one from Pearson, and Moana tries to find a way through the Saints defence. Good tackling from Hammond and Hunt, easily distinguishable Alan Hunt. Well, he's a couple of years behind, I think, because Martin Afire had that one a long time ago. There's a charge down from Goulding, and the race from Goulding continue it. Marshall didn't get to it. Sullivan's onto it, racing with Tuilanga, and it's going to be St Helens' first try, and that can be from the charge down from Goulding. But Richard Marshall should have the ball, and Goulding managed to kick it on. And another year older, perhaps not another year wiser. And Halifax still looking for the first league points. It's 1963 at Knowsley Road, and they're not going to get him that way, Ronnie.
No, they made an error there. It was kicked through, obviously Bobby Goulding hacked it on, and then Sullivan, the speed merchant, came through to register his 20th try of the season, and that's the best possible start that the Saints could have, Darrell. But we all think we're getting the rough end of the stick, don't we? And especially after last week, I mean, Sullivan had a try disallowed, my word, accused of being offside from the play of the ball, and yet we watched the game on Friday night, Castleford and Oldham, and the same referee, Mr Cummins, and my word, Oldham, they broke quickly is the understatement, and come up with 2 tries from offside positions. But Goulding, oh yes, it's what we've been lacking as well in the last few weeks. No disrespect to Sean Long being drafted in as the goal kicker, but Bobby Goulding pops that one over there. Let's hope it's the first of many this afternoon. But Goulding latches the 2 points onto the Anthony Sullivan try that was scored in 1 minute and 55 seconds. And Saints well on the way at 6 points to nil, and we're not used to being in the lead, Darrell.
Well, your comments about the try from Sullivan last week sounds as if he only lost by 4 points, but I think it was a bit more than that. But an early start for the Saints. Caught offside this time, moving up a bit too quickly. Talking about offside, and the Saints are going to see the first penalty from it.
Yeah, and about only losing by 4. No, I know it wasn't that, but I thought the scoreline flattered the Bulls last week, but they're well on the way, aren't they, the Bulls?
Well, it's flattered them every game this season, because they've got one hand on the Super League trophy. And Halifax are looking for the first point. The first run at Halifax's top try scorer, Tuilanga, on 11. Easy tackles, though. Marshall down the middle. 2 men waiting for him. Cunningham was one, and Pickervance the other. And Pickervance has played most of his games this season off the subs bench. He's getting a chance in the absence of Apollo Perolini. And Rowlett inside to Harrison. Pickervance again with a tackle. Carl Hammond there, and Matautia, who obviously wasn't cautioned. Rowley goes from acting half. Great run. Well, Rowley scored a try like that on his first appearance for Halifax, and it was at Knowsley Road that he did it from the back of the scrum at the other end of the field. But Halifax surrender possession again, when they should have been better putting the pressure on the Saints line.
Well, you're right, Darrell, but Hammond launches the ball. Danny Arnold, another blonde for this afternoon's game. But Rowley is sharp as a tack, isn't he, for the acting half-back position. Saints nearly got punished, but Andy Haig, great tackle by Haig in the end. And speaking of the devil, Haig pops up again, I think. It is Andy Haig from the full-back position. Newlove now breaks out. Good tackling there in the end by the Blue Sox. Saints moving across. Looks suspiciously forward. That ball onto Julian O'Neill from Bobby Goulding. Darrell just rubbed me down with a wet rag. He thinks there's something wrong. Arnold pats it back, but it goes into touch. Scrum down, head and feet to the Blue Sox. Oh, turnover, I beg your pardon. Turnover on the last tackle, with the ball being knocked into touch, Darrell.
Well, I was just checking to see if your temperature were right there on it, because you're not known as the most generous man in rugby league, especially when your team's got the ball, or at the bar either. But Halifax come away again, trying to bring it out of their own half, with Simon Baldwin now moving it out wide. Ball like taking up the centre position. Met by Joyce, his opposite number. Pearson, dummies, leaves Goulding and then puts one in the air. Pressure on here for Andy Haig. Haig equal to it, just knocking it backwards. That's Ramone. He's going to try and take him over the Saints line, but that's 10 yards away.
That's great tactics though, Darrell, that. Obviously, the sun, say it's playing up to the Eddington, away from the clubhouse end, and Halifax, obviously, sunny here at St Helens, and they've got to put the ball high in that corner with Saints having the sun in their eyes. Great tactics by the Blue Sox, and they are there pegged for offside. Robert Connolly, the ref, just over the border in Wigan, and the Saints have the penalty. And Sean Long opts to just pop it into touch on the halfway line, on the popular side stand. Pickavance, great run from Pickavance, offloads it to Matautia, and the Saints have got to follow the man with the ball, and watch this big Western Samoan goal. Cunningham, Long, along the line, Golding, looking for the runners, there's Joint, looking for the inside ball there. There's Anthony Sullivan and Newlove there, Bobby Golding again, and Saints moving it across, trying to drag this Halifax defence in. Hammond, onto Pickavance, did it go back? Arnold reclaims it. The referee, yes, he said it's gone back. Hammond, good ball to Pickavance, and he gets clattered. Big Carl Harrison, the Halifax captain, in there. And once again, Saints launch the attack. Moving across, overlap on the left here of the shape. Newlove, the big centre, driving it for the line. Must be the last tackle, this. Can't be many left anyway. It's coming to Golding, he shimmies. He gives the dummy, puts it in the air on the last tackle. For Hunt and Arnold to chase. Hunt knocks it back. Well, he knocks it forward as it happens. It looks as though it was coming back from our camera angle. But then that's the turnover again. The defence was tested there, Darrell, and it's held up to the challenge, didn't it?
Well, Halifax looked as though they only sent one man in gold in there, expecting the kick. And they also kept the numbers out wide. They didn't get sucked in, because so often Golding has had men left on the outside when he's put those kicks in. But Halifax holding up again in defence. And Marceau brings it up to the Halifax 40. Having trouble playing the ball, but gets away with it. Harrison wants to unload. Good tackling by Cunningham. Moana made a big impression when he came on last week at Warrington, despite Halifax going down 25-22. Had a big hand in the revival. He was appealing for the offside. And Robert Connolly has turned it the other way, and Saints looking to attack very quickly down this near side with Sean Long, who's ripping the Halifax defence apart and going into the second try.
Yes, great work by Long. Obviously the ball turned over there, and Saints capitalised on that, and Long in for the try. That's the first two tries there, Darrell, and you're coming from mistakes, more or less, can we say?
Well, Moana complained to referee Robert Connolly for an offside. Obviously a little too harshly. And Connolly turned the penalty over to St Helens, while Halifax players were joining in Moana's chorus of disapproval. And Saints, as they've done so often in the past, quick to break away, quick to take the tap, while Halifax were still going back into defence. And all credit to Sean Long, formerly with Wigan, signed as a 16-year-old. He was going to be the new Sean Edwards when they signed him, and St Helens have picked up a real talent in that young man.
Yes, he's looking sharp. In his first games that he came here against the Antipodeans, as Bobby Golding pops that one over and makes it 12 points to 0. Great start for the Saints after 10 minutes, but in the last couple of games, really, Sean Long didn't seem the force as he was when he came here. But anybody can have an off game, can't they? But he looked sharp as attack there. There's no danger about that. Took the ball out. Oh, dearie me. What an error there. On the far side, Michael Jackson couldn't gather the ball. And Saints certainly look as though they've got their act together. And a good win here today. I'll put them on good form, obviously, for travelling down under. But as you said, Arnold, Halifax last week at Warrington went 24-0 down and then came back and just lost out 25-22. You never know, do you? Saints have the possession. Joint scampers away, gives it to Newlove. New Love again, powers his way, 5 metres short of the Blue Sox line. Julian O'Neill, the ex-Auckland Warrior, driving it in, ever present this season. Cunningham doing what Rowley did at the other end, and Rowley's one of the men there to bring him down. Once again, the Saints have got to spread the ball. Long cut-out ball there, Long working the movements onto Matautia. Harrison coming in, big hit there, along with Paul Heighton. Down to Golding, chips it for the corner. But the Blue Sox gather it this time. Oh, great run there.
Pass Ramone's done extremely well, still going forward, Ramone. Great piece of play, gets the ball to Amanga. St Helens scrambling back in defence, 3 men on Amanga. But if ever you wanted the pressure taking off, Amone came up with a run. Well, I think our problem is with that many Western Samoans that Amone cleared Halifax lines, and then St Helens, with the indiscretion, have allowed Halifax just inside the Saints half of the field. And Tuilangi again, so often the first runner, doesn't make a lot of ground because Saints have time to organise the defence. Baldwin, he's wrestling one-handed. Hammond does well to bring him down. Needed a bit of assistance, but he had one hand free, did Baldwin. He was looking for the support. And Jackson running on strongly. Again, big tackling from Saints. Moana, centre of the field, ball stops, and then it's put out. Took 2 men into the tackle. Baldwin into Goulding and Newlove. Halifax passing the ball but not making any ground. And losing it now with a stray pass to Ilange. He'll set off back towards the Saints defence, but Halifax struggling to make 10 metres. Rowley takes matters into his own hands with a kick towards the touchline. And the scrum will go down 10 metres in from touch, but it's Saints that have all the ideas in the opening 15 minutes, and Halifax were just struggling to make ground there as they played one-out rugby up the middle of the field.
Yeah, John Pendlebury there, Daryl, obviously he'll be annoyed at the way that the Blue Sox have started. A couple of mistakes, and it's cost them. And obviously, I suppose that's a sign of a good side if they can capitalise on the opposition's mistakes. It's been happening to us in the last good few games, and it happened to us last week against the Bradford Bulls. But there you go, it's how it goes, isn't it? Matautia, head down, drives it forward once again. Cunningham scoops it up, and Cunningham's on his way. Oh, that's a great tackle there. Yeah, Michael Jackson comes in. Well, interference at the play of the ball by Rowley. 10 minutes in the sin bin if I was reffing, Darryl. But he just took him 10 metres. He hangs on. Oh, he's going to have a word with him. He's going to tell him. Any more of that? I mean, it's a good battle of the hookers here today, Rowley and Cunningham. It was a good battle last week with James Laws, and referee Connolly just telling him, let's not have any of that jiggery pokery, you know, and you can buy me a pint after, as Julian O'Neill takes the first tackle. Saints will move it out. Oh, dearie me. Bobby Golding couldn't take it. The idea was right. Wanted a quick play of the ball. He shouted for it. He came through. Just couldn't take it. And I'm afraid the Cardinals sin on the first and second tackle.
Well, I noticed you were bowing there when you mentioned the jewel in Sky Television's crown, James Laws, Steve-O's best friend. As Halifax come away again, Pearson, unaccustomed to perhaps to playing to scrum half. It might take him time to adjust, but it's taking Halifax time to adjust to a Saints defence, which is moving up quickly on Halifax. Paul Heighton doing well out of that run with Newlove and Long on his back. And Marshall will take it just over halfway. Matautia, big hit from Matautia and O'Neill just inside the Saints half. Halifax penalised again for not playing the ball correctly. Well, schoolboy error that, it's silly mistakes, but Halifax perhaps trying to rush things in the panic to get back into this game.
Yeah, sometimes the old referee does a bit of nitpicking, doesn't he? But we'll take the penalty. We're 30 metres out. We're in the lead by 12 points to 0, and then there's 16 minutes gone on the clock. And Derek McVie, come on, unloads the ball to Alan Hunt. So an early replacement for the Saints. Derek McVie coming on after 16 minutes. Danny Arnold. Blindside ploy by the Saints. The ball's loose. Halifax pick up the loose ball. Great tackling on by the Blue Sox on McVie. The ball comes free and Umanga has the ball.
Well, it's strange to see that Halifax are willing to throw it about in their own quarter of the field. It's a bit risky, but it's worked that time. And it's taken Halifax away from their own line, back into the Saints half. Pearson against Goulding, nowhere to go as O'Neill moves in as well. And Halifax desperate for the first try. Carl Harrison off the short ball. Just long back. It was Julie O'Neill again. His weight pulled Harrison down. Marshall. Well, he tried to get it away. Perhaps he could have done. There looked to be 2 or 3 in support. Now Moana. Right, putting his hands up and into an offside position. Or perhaps obstructing Moana. Well, Saints player there. Slowing the play down. As Powell comes up with it, has to pick it out of the air. But the attack ends 3 metres from the St Helens line. More encouraging times from Halifax, but still yet to score.
Yes, you're right there, Darrell. A little bit of professionalism by that Halifax player there. First he cabbaged a yard, stood all over the Saints player and then played it into him, but the referee wasn't having any of it. And Saints moving away. McVie over there. Now Matautia. Matautia into a big hole. Hand off. Turns it inside. Touch the Halifax player. It should be 6 again. As Arnold moves it downfield. Yes, the referee waves the tackle count clean. Saints are up to the halfway line, or virtually up to the halfway line. They're going to be penalised there for lying on at the play the ball. Saints take it quickly. Bobby Goulding into the main stand side here at Nosey Road. 40 metres from the Halifax line. A set of 6 now. To put further points on the board is McVie, the big runner, pushes him off left and right. Hammond at dummy half. Now with Chris Joint. He straightens up, he drives it forward. The Saints are looking the part and the Blue Sox defence going to be tested again. Goulding along the line, long. Hunt, oh, he's there behind the sticks. Lovely work there by the Saints. Hunt bounces it down. Just inside the dead ball line. The referee points to the spot. Saints over for the third after 19 minutes. And Alan Hunt there brings up his 20th try of the season. Right behind the sticks. That's going to be another 6 points to the Saints. Bobby Goulding and pop this one over. Just about our distance, Darrell, I reckon. From right in front. But great work by the Saints. Drove it upfield. And went over for the 4-pointer. Bobby Goulding converts it. 18 points to 0. 20 minutes gone. And once again, Darrell, you have found wanting a little close to the line.
Well, St Helens have scored this one on their own because Halifax have opened with their first 2. With the mistakes they made. But St Helens in command, 18 points to 0. And Halifax in the same position more or less as they were at Wilderspool last week when they were losing 24 points till after 20 minutes. And St Helens putting the pressure on Amone as he took the ball from the kick-off. Harrison beats the first man, ball goes backwards. Saints man all over Paul Rowley there. But Umanga plays up at the back, brings it out of defence. And he's tackled by Joint. Paul Lighton pushes the man off. Used to be a centre. Sean Long will chase him down. Paul Lighton put a bit of weight on since his centre days, but that was a good break. Pearson trying to go past Andy Haig underneath. But Halifax struggling a little bit, perhaps at the half-back positions with Moana and Pearson playing together for the first time. And Marshall comes up with the error again and gives Saints the possession at the scrum.
All that good running, Darrell, gone to naught, and unfortunately Marshall just couldn't control it. Pulled it forward, knock on ruled, head and feet to the Saints. Goulding to feed. Blindside ploy, Hammond to Goulding. Using Sullivan. Sullivan breaks through one, goes inside. Rowley puts him to earth. Cunningham again, unloads quickly. Chris Joint. Michael Jackson, the first man in. Big Carl Harrison, the captain, assists. Now it's Derek McVie. Well, a big hit there on McVie from Moana. He plays it, and once again the Saints trying to spread it. Cunningham from the dummy half position. Pushes off one, then a cluster of 3 players come in. I thought Carl Harrison had taken a knock there. Golding puts it to the air. Sullivan's there, it's off a Halifax player. Well, Tuilangi comes up with it. Must be a knock on. Paul Newlook thought that. The referee there, he's looked at the touch judge. He's going over to the touch judge now, just having a little bit of consultation. And let's see what decision he comes up with. Any 8 from 10?
Well, I think it came off his shoulder, and it's obviously the linesmen on this side of the ground are always under pressure because there's that many Saints supporters who are trying to sway the decision, as they do at any club.
I'll assure you, Darryl, they're totally impartial, just like me and you. Hunt, inside ball, Newlove again! Finally brought down to earth, Amon. Hunt, long, along the line, Golding, Hammond with a dummy, super dummy from Hammond. Sullivan in for his second. Oh, that's out of the top drawer, that one. 23 minutes gone. Sullivan in for his second try. Good handling by the Saints in the end. But there again, Darryl, as you say, you can feel aggrieved. The high ball coming off Halifax player. It was adjudged to have been knocked forward from the resulting scrum. Saints obviously brought it out, moved it across, and good play over there to the far side with Newlove off the left wing, going over there on the right hand side, and then the ball transferred across. Golding, long, etc. Moved it down here. Sullivan coming on the inside, exposing a hole in the Blue Sox defence and touching down about 15-20 metres to the left of the sticks. Strange how things happen in it, but Golding there, just to the left of the sticks, so we're all right. We're going to give you a good hammering.
Well, there's been plenty of them that St Helens have handed out for Halifax over the last 30 years. And knowing you run it, you'll know every forward pass and every tackle that's happened over the last 30 years. Well, all the ones you've seen anyway. But 22-0 down again after 20 minutes. And an uphill battle, and somehow I don't think the Saints are going to just give in as easy as the Wolves did last week. Appeals for a forward pass. Never in this world, Ronnie. Never. Yard backwards. Anyway, Halifax come away again. And I think they'll have forgotten what Saints half of the field looks like because they haven't spent that much time there. Harrison unloads to Baldwin, and Baldwin tries to escape down the middle, but O'Neill gets back with Matauti to bring him down. Rowley's eyeing up the options, and there's not many on the last tackle. Pearson kicks towards Haig again, but Haig doing a good job in the absence of Steve Prescott with the sun in his eyes.
Yes, you're right. Good tactics, obviously, by the Blue Sox, but it's coming off for the Saints today. No fumbling up to now. 25 minutes gone, 22 points to nil, Saints in the lead. And once again, moving it across, but Long just losing his footing. Certainly a useful acquisition, as we was discussing before, Darryl. Chris Joint. I mean, the last couple of games, obviously, well, I mean, the team haven't been themselves in the last few games, to be quite honest. Especially that defeat at Sheffield. The winner told them a defeat at Sheffield. Defeat last week against the Bulls, the champions-elect. McVie, another man that's been struggling with injury, but the ball was out. Didn't see that go, Darryl. Obviously, sleight of hand. I was watching McVie, but it goes to Bobby Golding. He puts it downfield. Amoni keeps it in the field of play, and he's a strong lad, isn't he?
Well, I think if you added it all up, Amoni's probably made the most yards of any Halifax player, and then he's given it away to Sullivan. Well, panic setting already for Halifax 60 minutes to go, and they're on the back foot again towards their own line.
Yes, an error there by Amoni, obviously bringing the ball across. Somebody must have shouted for it. He tried to release it as the tackle came in. It was went forward. Sullivan came up with it, and now the Saints have lost the possession. And Baldwin comes up with it. So a catalogue of errors there in the last minute or so.
Well, are you sure it wasn't reaped out or knocked on or? But Halifax still not out of their own half. They'd like to be, but they're struggling. Harrison looking to release again. There was a hand in there on a two-man tackle. And Halifax are still bogged in their own half. As three Saints defenders moving to make the tackle on Amoni. Rolling from acting half. That's Bullride running. First touch for the former Bradford Huddersfield player on loan at Halifax. Craig Dean's on as well. So Halifax coach John Pendlebury changing his options. Unfortunately, we can't see who's taken off. It's kept Pearson there, and Amanga's found the gap. Can he beat Egg? Looking inside, support from Dean, and the pass straight to Goulding. Well, it was gifted. Halifax should have had a try off that pass from Amanga, but Goulding there in the middle to take the ball out of the air, relieve the pressure of the team.
Yes, the captain coming back and playing a captain's part, putting his body in the right place at the right time. Now it's Renewlove out to Sullivan, looking for his hat-trick. Puts it back inside to Sean Long. It's great rugby this, as far as the Saints backers are concerned. When they do this, play, let the ball do the work. Pass it out. Lovely to watch. Oh, big tackle there on O'Neill. My word, Boothroyd. That was a coat hanger job, wasn't it? The referee spotted it. He's going to have a word with him. Is he going to have a word with him? Well, O'Neill thought he penalised the Saints. O'Neill thought he was going to be awarded a penalty. The referee said, well, my word, there was nothing wrong with that. He said, dearie me. Big coat hanger job, but it's the Blue Sox that get the penalty. Well, he's going over having a word with the touch judge now, dearie me. You know, I mean, we're critical, aren't we, of referees and officials, but they've all got to work in conjunction, and my word, I'm sure they can get a better system than this. The referee's coming back. He's still going to... he's giving the penalty the other way now. He's not indicating... No, he's not. It's Halifax penalty, I beg your pardon.
Well, there's lots of supporters call for referees to be wired up, and there's a few more call for him to be strung up. 40 volts. But Halifax, Julian O'Neill, has spoken out of turn after that solid, good hard tackling from the Halifax defence. And Boothroyd willing to work for the Halifax cause. Halifax look for the first point. Carl Harrison going forward, and I think there's a forward pass there seen by Robert Connolly, and the way things are going at the moment, it looks as though fate's decided that Halifax might not even score this afternoon, because they can't turn any slight pressure they have into point.
Yeah, it's just not going their way, is it? Especially coming down, a couple of chances that they may have converted into points, but it's not to be just at present. Still plenty of time. 8 minutes remaining of the first half, 8 minutes and a bit. As Chris Joint brings the ball up for the Saints. Cunningham, O'Neill. Good solid tackling there. Michael Jackson, Boothroyd again in the action. Cunningham looking to expose weak defence at the marker, play the ball. Comes out, squeezes out to Hammond, on to McBee. McBee puts the welly down. Looking for support inside, slips it to Hunt. Great handling by the Saints. Just got to settle it down, no panic setting in. Obviously you shouldn't think so at 22 points to nil. Did he lose the ball there, Alan Hunt? Goulding, Joint, reverse angle pass, reverse to Andy Haig. Haig again, striding forward. Boothroyd again, well he's done some tackling since he come on, Donald, hasn't he? Now with Goulding, can the Saints? No, they can't. They went to Hammond, back to Hammond, first knock on will be ruled. Head and feet to the Blue Sox. But good handling by the Saints, coming 40, 50 metres, and then must have been on the sixth tackle there, he's just given the turnover.
Well, he's got to hand it to Alan Boothroyd. He was involved in 3 or 4 of that last set of 6 tackles, but it needs the other 12 to help him. But more importantly, it needs the other 12 to string something together in attack to take him to the other end of the field. Still looking for the first points, 22-0 down. Harrison interfered with as he played the ball. Not seen by the referee. Aiton to Dean Moana. Takes it on one out rugby again. And Saints will just take these tackles all day. As long as Halifax insist on going up the middle. Dean's kick for Tuilagi. Haig under pressure this time. And Pearson will pick it up for Halifax. Well, Saints got 2 tries off Halifax mistakes, but the tactic paid off, and interestingly enough, the sun's gone behind the cloud, and Andy Haig spilt it up for Martin Pearson to strike round for Halifax's first points and cut the lead to 22 points to 4. There's plenty of noise to try and put him off. Well, it hasn't done. It's just gone inside the left-hand upright. And Halifax restoring a little bit of credibility with Pearson's try and goal. 22 points to 6, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, and I always thought you was fair and straight down the middle, Donald, but some of your comments, the last few comments, you've been having a go at me, and you know I've only one eye. Cyclops, they call me. Golding onto Joint from the kick-off. Aiton, Pearson and Dean in at the tackle. So Saints concede 6, as you said, from pressure. That's what it's all about, putting pressure on the opposition. Matautia, strong runner. Clattered there by Jackson. Once again, Cunningham off on a darting run. There's always 2-3 tacklers in for the Blue Sox. And Cunningham couldn't be wrestled to the ground. Long onto Golding. Golding chips it through. Yamanga well positioned. Then the ball out. That was 1-1, surely before the other man came in. But the referee are judging that it was a 2-man tackle on Yamanga and a penalty to the Blue Sox, just inside their own half.
Fair and down the middle, Ronnie. Yes. He's come back to haunt you. No doubt about it. 2 men in the tackle. The ball ripped out, and Halifax could that Pearson try be the start of the comeback? It's 22 points down, spurred them on last week, even though they went down. There was more credit of the performance after they conceded the 24 points. And there's a lot of people shouting instructions, and not a lot of people actually doing anything. Ball lost, but it went backwards. Blue Sox on the Saints 20-metre line, looking to the more expansive game. Pearson kicks it, came off a Saints player, but Long picks it up. Pearson putting the pressure on, and Powell completes the tackle. But Saints back down by their own line, and Halifax will want to keep them there.
Yeah, settling it down a bit, perhaps. 4 minutes to the interval. Chris Morley on for the Saints. There's most of his rugby, obviously second row, back row forward, Chris Morley. Long drop-off ball to Joint, inside ball to Newlove. Must be quite slippy there, a lot of players losing the footing. Of course, we have had quite a hefty shower this afternoon over here in God's side of the Pennines. And now Golding puts it downfield. Just bounces in the field of play and then into touch and back in. Precision kicking there by Golding. But good driving run, obviously, or good attacking, pressurising the Saints. But a relieving kick by the captain. 10 metres from the Blue Sox line. Only a couple of minutes to go, Darrell, and 22-6 the score in favour of the Saints.
Well, it looked like it could have been a rout, but Halifax have pulled the game together a little bit, scored a try and a goal, and I think at this point 22-6 isn't too bad, considering Saints' 22 point came in the first 20 minutes or so. And that's Ramone coming in to the middle of the field again, looking for the work. There's no change out of Matautia here. Michael Jackson wrapped up by Cunningham and O'Neill. Rowlett pleading that they were holding on a bit too long. Moana gets it away, but gets Aiton under all sorts of pressure, and Aiton does well to get out of it and then runs back into trouble in the middle of the field. Sullivan, that man that missed him on the first occasion, got back to make the tackle. Now Moana out to Tuilagi, who's plenty of pace, but superb tackle, good passing time from Tuilagi to Dio Powell. Well, shout for a forward pass. Powell wants to get it played quickly. Pearson will look to the air again. Pressure on towards Danny Arnold, and Bouveng there, putting Arnold behind his own line. Well, it'll force the drop out, and nobody in the Saints camp wants to rush to take this drop out. They're just trying to eat the minutes up on the clock, as true professionals and gentlemen do. Goulding will put it back into play, and Craig Dean will charge it back at the Saints defence. Wants to get up and play it quickly. Pearson to Amanga. Amanga looks for a gap, turns it back inside to Rowley against Cunningham. Good pass away to Dean. Now Bouldroyd, seeing plenty of action, gets it away to Rowley. Rowley off towards that Saints line. Fancies a go on his own. Can he get the ball down? He has done. Well, Rowley threatened that earlier and was brought down just short. But Bouldroyd it was for Halifax, who took the ball into the tackle and drew two defenders in and slipped the ball out the back door for Rowley to go in from 15 metres out. And, well, perhaps there is a revival on the card as the lead's cut to 22 points to 10.
From the right side for the right-footed kicker, just kept it in between the posts last time, gets it there this time. The last action of the first half, 22 points to 12 the score. All Saints in the first 23 minutes. 2 tries from Sullivan, 1 from Long, 1 from Hunt, 3 goals from Goulding. That was Saints 22 points. Then in the last 7 minutes, tries from Pearson, goal by Pearson, and then the try there from Rowley at the death, goal by Pearson. Half time here at Nosey Road. Alan Hunt troops off there with his haircut resplendent for his trip down under. Half time here at Nosey Road. Saints 22, Blue Sox 12. 22-12 the half-time score. Before we get underway, obviously I've mentioned Kevin McNicholas. He used to be a spectator here, or so I've been led to believe, but he's now resigned, he said, to being an armchair supporter. His friends are trying to remember the last time he attended a game, and I think he perhaps might have a little bit of pie-eating blood in him, because they only watch the team when they're winning, don't they? But anyway, Kevin McNicholas, I'm not saying who told me to mention that, but he's Paul Bate. See you, Kevin. Ready for the second half. 22-12 to score. Sorry, Paul. But it won't be.
Can we edit, run it?
Yes, as you know, all our expert commentaries are done spontaneously, without beeping, as Saints get ready to kick off from the centre spot. The Blue Sox just coming back into it in the last 7 minutes. 22-12, the half-time score. Away we go.
Well, there's no beats, but I think if anybody can read sign language, then they'll understand what we're going on about. Craig Dean's taken a knock as he's collected the ball. Not the biggest man in Craig Dean, but he's been hit by Matautia. He went down bravely on the ball, and Matautia's gone down with the knees from the look of the replay on the big screen. Well, knees this week, elbows last week. Of course, there's nothing to mention of that, Ronnie, I don't think.
Elbows were cleared by the disciplinary. No case to answer.
I beg your pardon, I do apologise. It became a bit of a fixing and fitting at one time at the disciplinary committee. Did Matautia, but as you say, he's been cleared, and I do apologise because I didn't know. But But the crowd silenced at the beginning of the second half, nothing to cheer about as yet. Halifax have nothing to cheer about as they lose or trail by 22 points to 12. And I think John Pendlebury will have had some harsh words at half time, and that is an example of how Halifax can lose, or any team can lose a game, by not putting in the correct kick, because that was a poor one which Sullivan fielded quite easily.
Yeah, Umanga, as you say, Darrell, a poor kick, fielded by Sullivan. Saints in the driving seat, in possession. Morley driving it through. Jackson took him a little high as he went through. And once again, Golding drawing the players in, flicks it back inside. Carl Harrison and Hyton on Paul Newlove. Hunt at dummy half. Saints moving it right. Sean Long offers the dummy, gives it to Matautia. Matautia breaks free, puts it back. Cunningham gathers it. Now it's with Carl Hammond. The Saints are keeping it going. Danny Arnold. And once again, Cunningham there involved again. Inside to Hammond. The Saints are moving it. They're 15 metres short of the Blue Sox line. Golding again. Inside to Joint. I think it is Joint. Newlove, last tackle of the sequence. Reverse angle kick. As Arnold touches it down, but there was an infringement before that, a knock forward. It'll be the turnover on the sixth tackle. The Blue Sox will have the possession.
Yep. And they're back down by their own line again. But they've stuck to the tackling. Under pressure in that set of six from Saints. Still a lot to come of this second half. And Assarimoni drives it up again for Halifax. He's spent more time in the middle of the field, considering he's playing on the wing. He's covered a lot of ground down the middle. And so has Rowley, until Hunt and Hammond made the tackle. Michael Jackson into two, and Halifax struggling to make it forward. Rowley will go again from acting half. Moana kicking again for Halifax, out of defence, but that's straight at full-back Andy Haig, and Halifax really have to put a better kicking game together than this.
Yes, this obviously the last game of the weekend's fixtures. There's good tackling by the Blue Sox on Sullivan. They force him back. Arnold claiming for the holding down in the tackle. But Moana there, now it's Golding, looking to run, looking to draw men in. Gets one for his corner there. Hammond inside to Joint. Saints have got to keep the ball going, they've got to keep it alive. This will create the gaps in the opposition's defence. There's Cunningham, brushes off two, slips it to Matautia. The big fella drives forward with Rowley and Moana on him. He's still driving. Once again, Marker controlled there. Cunningham kicks it through, Hunt in for his second. I don't know whether he got a deflection off Halifax player there, Daniel, as he went through. But Hunt quickly off the mark. And 4 minutes, approaching the 5th minute of the second half. Hunt in for the try. An astute kick through there for Alan Hunt. And he took it, but I didn't know whether there was a slight deflection off the Halifax player. But Hunt in for his second.
Perhaps a hint of offside, but referee on the spot said play on. Goulding puts it wide, which you wouldn't expect. But going back to earlier in the play, I think that's the first time that Goulding's actually run the ball. I think on the first or second tackle, Goulding ran the ball. And I think that's the first time he's done it this game. He's obviously been very careful with that coming back after that hernia operation. But Halifax held off him, and he put the kick through, which Hunt knew the script and picked it up and extended the lead for Saints by 26 points to 12. And Dean falls back again under the impact of that tackle. Coming in for a bit of rough treatment as he set the ball back from the kick-offs is Craig Dean. Perhaps might be wiser to use a bigger forward or a second rower. Carl Harrison turning, looking away from the first two. Ball comes loose in a two-man tackle. Well, complaints from the St Helens supporters. But even I'm not sure about that because it didn't look as though there was a hand in there to me. Halifax gets the penalty.
I think I better check your temperature now.
So Halifax come forward again. 14 points down. Dio Powell. Turned over by O'Neill. Powell playing for the penalty and not getting it. Michael Jackson up the middle into Matautia and straight on his back. Biggie from St Helens forward. Good ball from Dean, who's looking to put Paul Heighton in the gap. But Saints defending strongly again. Now Bullroyd. Wrapped up. O'Neill goes for his second. Heighton switches the attack. Pearson turns it back inside to Amanga. And Amanga has the step, and Amanga going towards that Saints line. Good defending on the scramble by Saints, but a long ball out wide here. There must be a triumph for Halifax in the corner. Dio Powell. Well, Halifax needed a quick reply, and it's only taken 3 minutes in coming. Amanga looked as though he was away, although the advantage to a certain extent with Saints because Powell's try was a long way out from the post. Amanga would have made it easier for Pearson, but they moved the ball out wide, and Saints had been caught when Amanga broke through, and they tried to get back in the middle. They were left wanted on the outside, and Dio Powell strode over off a long pass to cut the lead to 26 points to 16.
Powell in for the try, and Pearson with a difficult attempt, well out, but it's surprising how they can miss him from in front and pop him over from a distance, isn't it? But 26-16. 10-point cushion for the Saints at present. Lofty kick by Pearson. Waved away by the touch judges. The Blue Sox kick off. Deep kick taken by Chris Joint. Right back into the fray. Baldwin, Pearson, Cunningham at dummy half. Julian O'Neill drives into the defence. Solid play, as I said. O'Neill onto Matautia. Matautia offloads to Morley. Well, I thought it was to Morley, but Hunt comes up with it. Taken down by Michael Jackson. Paul Heighton round the legs. And once again, putting the ball out, Newlove trying to get into the game, the big fella. Oh, great handoff by Newlove, but Harrison comes in and clatters him along with Michael Jackson. Up to the halfway line. Golding chips it downfield. Arnold's chasing it. The Blue Sox come up with their ceremony, and he runs it cross field, but Andy Haig and Alan Hunt and Anthony Sullivan combine to bring him to earth.
Well, the referee allowed Acrimoni a bit more room there, as he told the Saints players to make sure they gave him 10 yards. And Acrimoni only went sideways. Amanga flattened to the ground by Morley. Big tackle by the Saints sub. Jackson rattled by Hunt. Halifax needing to add to their score very quickly. Harrison driving forward up towards halfway. Rowley acting half. Halifax moving it out. Pearson. Well, short ball to Paul Heighton, all wrapped up by Newlove. Pearson from acting half. Last tackle. Looks for the touchline, but again the kick fails to find touch, and it'll set up the counter-attack for Andy Haig.
Yes, I think it just obviously pretty poor positional kicking there, Daniel, as you say. Saints would have been expected to get the ball from the resulting scrum if it had gone in touch. The last game of the weekend's fixtures before Saints and whoever else goes down under. And Saints moving it up towards the halfway line. The champions-elect Bradford had a good win over the Salford Reds on Friday. And a shock defeat for the Pie Eaters yesterday over in Paris, 30 points to 28. A tightly contested game, only 10 points separating the sides. Just Hunt unloaded to Joey Hayes. just come on as a replacement for Danny Arnold. Long inside to Golding, he puts it to the air. Well taken by Yamanga. Cunningham trying to come down on him, inside pass to Tuilangi, and he's clattered midfield.
Well, there was a mistake at Edinley a couple of weeks ago, coming off a similar move that let Leeds in for a try. Fortunately, it's dry conditions tonight. Amanga taking the risk with the short ball to Tuilangi. Right, and driving forward into the tackle of Joint and Cunningham. Moana drop-off ball to Jackson, brings him back on the inside. Good tackling from Morley. Take one there. Harrison going nowhere as he loses his footing. Just short of halfway again for Halifax. Baldwin over halfway, looking for support, shouting for it. Rowley away to Harrison. Harrison back in tight goes Moana, and Moana has Pearson strength. They have Pearson in support. Pearson, he can get the ball out, can't do, and he brings him down. For Halifax, if they can put a couple of passes together here, might create something. Baldwin on the floor. Well, wasted possession. Halifax might have been better advised to move it out. Some confusion there as to who the possession belongs to. And Boving, well, quite happy to get on with it. He'd obviously not heard the referee's whistle.
Well, I think obviously the ball propelled forward by Halifax. He's given a penalty for whatever reason, Darrell. I've not a clue. Just looked as though the ball was knocked on, and then waiting for instructions. Saints didn't do anything. He was waiting for the referee, see what he'd given. He'd given a penalty in the end as Morley comes in, and Harrison with a big hit, and Michael Jackson. And it must be a high. The referee saying it was high. Didn't look all that bad from our angle. Keep it down. He's saying, Michael, you know, he's obviously begging his innocence, as they all do. But Saints have the possession. 26 points to 16 the score. 15 minutes gone in the second half. Sullivan looking for that gap, siding through. Has his ankle staff, but slips it inside to Hunt. Great tackle there by Amon. Hayes a dummy half. Saints on the attack. Can they move it out left? They've got a player down injured. It's on the far side. Andy Haig linking up. Hammond attacked in half. Julian O'Neill once again doing the hard yard. Taking it forward. Powering upfield. Brought down 5 metres short. Inside to Golding. Now to Joint. Can Joint go? Yes, he can. I was going to say, can Joint squeeze over? But as he answers me a question before he had time to spit it out, bounces the ball down over the whitewash between the sticks. A great try for the vice-captain here. And after some spirited play by the Saints, Chris Joint goes over for a try. Does not score so many this season as Chris Joint. Moving from side to side, try and capitalise on holes in the opposition. They did so that time. Joint went over. Bobby Golding pops the extras over there. Another 6 points to the Saints. Eases the pressure a little.
With a big power play from Chris Joint, forcing his way over Moana, and Harrison couldn't hold him up. Ramoni brings it back from the restart into Julian O'Neill. Carl Harrison. O'Neill again. Got through some tackling for the Saints this afternoon. And Carl Harrison has thrown the ball at Julian O'Neill. And Conley is going to have words with the Halifax captain for that. Perhaps a little bit frustrated. And Carl Harrison nods his head as much to say, I've heard it all before and I know what he's talking about. But Halifax have got the penalty. And Pearson puts it into touch and only makes 10 metres. Didn't help Halifax's cause that much, because they've still got another 50 to go to the Saints line. Rowlett, Harrison running off the short ball, pushes one away, looks to take them all on his own. He's the Halifax captain. Rowley, back to Pearson. Pearson trying to set the move up. Moves right it was, who took the short pass. Moana, stepping. Trying to go through, great ball away to Simon Ball with support there from Paul Lighton, but he couldn't pick it up off the floor. And that should have been another Halifax try. He replied quickly to the first one. He could have done on that occasion to the second, but to the pass going to ground and Paul Lighton unable to pick it up.
Yes, great running from the Blue Sox, but poor finishing. Joey Hayes taken by Boubeng. Paul Anderson just coming onto the field. Another one with the blonde locks. They used to do us a few years ago like this, Darryl, with all the blonde locks. When you know, they obviously can pick them out, but there was a few looked the same. Let's tell him we had Paul Forward, Tony Burke, Chris Arkwright, and all that. But anyway, just reminiscing a little bit. And Anthony Sullivan takes the ball up. 32 points to 16. 22 minutes of the game remain, and the ball out on the full. So back for the turnover.
Well, there's plenty of players with a bond lock. Where do you go for the grey ones, Ronnie? So the ball out on the full. Halifax will try and launch another attack to Ilanga. Gets the ball away, bounces up for Amanga. Moana turns it back inside. And Halifax trying to take a leaf out of the Saints book with the 6 or 7 passes, but it ends in the middle of the field. Carl Harrison back on the inside. Strong running towards the Saints defence. Rolling up quickly from acting half. Looking for support. Harrison there, his captain. Harrison getting bogged down, one-handed pass away to Paul Lighton. Paul Lighton off towards that Saints line. Sean Long and Chris Joint bring him down 5 or 6 metres away. Pearson, Moana, back inside to Jackson. But Jackson running into the sliding defence. And Halifax lose ground. Moana to Harrison. Well, Harrison stood in a pivotal position. Surely that's the wrong place for him. Pearson takes it from Rowley, and then he's hammered. So Halifax back to within 4 or 5 on the last tackle. Long pass over the top. Powell in for the second. And Halifax needed it to keep in touch. The lead cut again to 12 points. Dio Powell with the second. Well, I think they've drawn the Saints defence in again there. And a long pass over the top, which missed out 2 men. Dio Powell in at the corner has left Pearson another difficult kick, but the lead cut again to 12 points. And Pearson, who's had 1 practice from this angle, will try again. Who has lifted it long enough and high enough. It's just a little bit short, drops down. Well, Pearson's missed a couple, but with still 15-20 minutes to go, Halifax not out of it yet, and Saints leading 32 points to 20.
Yes, in the last quarter, Yamanga to restart. Referee Bob Conley just making sure that everybody's on side. Sean Long gathers, flicks it inside to Chris Joint. Saints looking to do the first double of the season in the domestic competition. As I said, 26-18, we won at Thrum Hall last season. Did the double over the Blue Sox. Tightly contested at Thrum Hall, 30-28. But Ahmed Amir, 58 points to 20. The ball reaped out there, I would imagine, Daddle. Well, the referee said it's all right. It was OK, and the Blue Sox have possession. But now the referee's blown up. Well, he's going over having a word with the touch judge. He's not sure. I know Darryl seems to think that Yamanga had knocked it forward, but we'll just have a consultation. We'll be getting the decision to you shortly. Referee Conley. Scrum down, head and feed to the Saints. Bobby Golding, well, obviously looking for the rugby ball. He's just getting his troops sorted out. Golding chips it, Hunt's going to chase it. Joey Hayes is there as well, and Moore is back. Well, is it? Oh, dearie me, that was... It's come off Joey Hayes, yeah, the referee, the touch judge says. Good work from the captain there. Hunt and Hayes on the right flank. He put it downfield on the first kick, and the Blue Sox will restart from the centre of the 20.
Well, I can't see the reasoning behind that one on the first tackle. I can see the fact that they try to turn Amoni round, who is a big man, is Asa Amoni, and to turn round and run after the ball gives the attacking side that bit of advantage with pacemen like Joey Hayes. But Halifax breathing a sigh of relief on that occasion. Paul Ayton looks to take him on again on his own. It took 3 men to slow him down and complete the tackle in certain stages as Carl Harrison goes forward. Harrison offloads to Baldwin. Baldwin through, looking inside for support. No mistake this time. Amanga under the post for Halifax. Super try for the Blue Sox. And I don't think even you can argue with that, Ronnie, because it was sheer class. And Robert Connolly, well, he hasn't given it yet. Perhaps he'll have a look at the video replay, I don't know. Well, he's going to do, but I don't know what for, because there didn't seem to be anything wrong with it. Baldwin turned it inside smartly to Amanga. Pearson's lining his shot at goal up in front of the post, which suggests that he's confident the try will be given. Well, I certainly am, because there didn't look to be anything wrong with it from here.
Well, no, not as far as I'm concerned, but it looks as though the referee was saying about something at the play of the ball. So I don't know, but it's handed over to the video referee, whoever he may be, in the confines around the Nosey Road Arena, looking at the big screen, and we'll just wait for the referee to point to the spot. All eyes on the big screen, as you said. Pearson lining up for the goal kick. We'll just wait for the result. A lot of these tries, I mean, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, he's not giving it. It's not given, it's waved away. Obviously an infringement. As Yamanga kicks the ball away in disgust into the main stand. It's a penalty to the Saints there.
Well, we don't have the benefit of the video replay from our position, but I can't see what the problem was there, because Connolly kept up with the play all the way. But obviously somebody's done something, and it'll take a look at the video during the week to see just what occurred.
But Saints restart in the lead by 12, 32-20. 14 minutes remain. Certainly a spirited performance by both sides. Well, a little messy at the play of the ball as Cunningham moves upfield. Rowley, Jackson, Boothroyd in at the tackle. Halifax move up quickly as the Saints try and move it crossfield. Golding looking to expose a hole in the defence. Clattered on the far side. Tuilangi it was there. Now it's Renewlove. Tuilangi comes across. Is it Tuilangi? I don't know, it is. But Saints now with Golding puts it up. Alan Hunt's chasing it. Yamanga over the underneath it, I should say, but Sullivan tidied him up.
Well, Yamanga cool under pressure. Saints offside. Well, I think Alan Hunt might have said off before the kick from Golding went, but there were no doubt about it that time. Connolly spotting, I think, getting one of 3 or 4 Saints players there offside, so Halifax will try again to cut into this 32 points to 20 lead. We thought they'd done it just a couple of minutes ago. The try brought back for the penalty to Saints, but it must give Halifax some little hope that knowing that they can break through the Saints line. Rowley onto Boothroyd. Matauti and O'Neill, the tacklers. Carl Harrison, he'll look to unload. As I said, Alan's hand on the ball. Gets up, plays it quickly. Rowley from acting out. Baldwin on his shoulder. And Halifax players looking round for support. Good tackle. Moana chipped through. It's come off a Saints player, but it's bounced kindly for Newell, but he's immediately wrapped up by Pearson.
Yes, the Blue Sox putting it together, putting pressure on the Saints, varying the play on the sixth tackle. And Saints coming up with the ball that time, and well, Michael Jackson taking a leaf out of Kelvin Skerritt's boot there. Must always be aware of low-flying Skerritt in your time, but Alan Hunt coming onto it, couldn't take it. The Blue Sox back in possession. Can they put pressure on the Saints? Rowley slips it out to Yamanga. Once again he moves across, he unloads the ball. Exciting rugby, Darrell, as the Blue Sox spread it.
Well, they're trying to keep it alive. They know that the clock's ticking down. 12 points to claw back, 11 minutes to go. And on the attack again, here goes Jackson into Joint, losing the battle. In the middle is a very big fella, is Joint, and Jackson's not the biggest of second rowers anyway. Paul Leighton going forward, Goulding on him, Matautian on him, and finally goes down. Halifax on the attack with Pearson. Ball back inside to Harrison. Harrison away to Amanga. Ball goes onto ground. Well, I think he's going to give the knock on for that one. But Halifax trying to put the passes together and looking good up to a point when suddenly it turns to panic. And the ball is lost. I think too many Halifax players try to get involved.
They've spread it round well though, haven't they, Halifax? When they let the ball go, the players back the man up with the ball handling, it's been excellent when they put it together. They look really sharp, but just losing out at the death there. As Joey Hayes comes through with it, Rowley again and Baldwin. The ball onto Alan Hunt, bounces off the Michael Jackson, Hunt's away again, can he break through, moves through three, puts a speculator out to Sullivan, winding his way in and out, oh goal, what a try, a superb effort by Sullivan, and that should seal the point, shouldn't it? Sullivan gesticulates to the crowd there as he goes over for the try, but Alan Hunt and Anthony Sullivan combined there. And Carl Harrison is incensed. He's moving back over. His referee, Connolly, is going to have a word with him. Well, he's having a word with Connolly. Oh, he's saying it was a forward pass. And I know you seem to hint that it was a hint forward, Darrell, as that short ball onto Hunt. Oh, I thought you did, Darrell. I've heard you chirping on many occasions this afternoon. But it was finished off there by Sullivan. Brings up his hat-trick. We can't really see our angle view on the big screen there, obviously. Not clear to pick out, but great running by Hunt. Sided his way through about 3 or 4. Then he slipped it to Sullivan. Sullivan went past 2 and 3. They tried to tap his ankles. A lovely diagonal run, touching down about 5 metres to the right of the sticks. And I think that might have just put the nail in the coffin, Darrell. Strikes it well there between the uprights. Long with the goal. 6 points to the Saints. 38 points to 20. That try coming from deep in the Saints half. Short pass that may have been suspiciously forward. Carl Harrison complaining, but the try was given.
Well, that's probably sealed the 2 points for Saints. Pearson's caught one off the Mooney's boot as he was turning round. Well, Goulding's gone in there as Rowley tried to play the ball. Well, Rowley was penalised for that in the first half, and again a touch of inconsistency from Connolly. When the ball's on the ground, you're allowed to play for it. Rowley penalised in the first half, but nothing said as Goulding went in there. But Harrison driving it up for Halifax. There's hand in there though from Sean Long. 3 men on that tackle. Joint and Newell were the first men, and Long was actually on the floor, but just pulled it down out of Harrison's grip as he was going down. So perhaps one last fling for Halifax towards that Saints line from the halfway point. Bullseye takes it the first 10, but I think one or two Halifax players with their heads down now, seeing how they've come close to some tries that would have kept him in this game, and then to see Sullivan carve his way through for that deciding try under the post. Moana to Amanga, who steps back inside into the arms of Carl Hammond. Moana, Harrison loses it. Well, I think he said it went backwards, and I think the complaints of Carl Harrison, the look on the face says it all from the Halifax captain.
Well, it looks as though it had gone back from our angle, there's no doubt about that. The referee was quick to blow up. Harrison looked at him, pointed to him. Obviously he knows he's wasting his time. You know you're wasting your time. I mean, the official's right, whether he's right or he's wrong. And I can understand his aggrievement, obviously, with that try being disallowed for Halifax. And then Harrison judging that there was an infringement in that Sullivan try and complaining, but he got nowhere. But the Saints have the possession. They're moving it cross field. Quick hands, the order of the day. Matautia, lofted ball to Julie Hayes with a bit of space, turns it inside for Alan Hunt. Quickly clattered by Boubeng and Carl Harrison. 38-20 to score, 5 minutes remaining on the clock. Bobby Golding tried to duck under the tackle. Powell there, the tackler, come up with a brace this afternoon. Hammond. The ball chipped forward. Hammond again. It's still all in play, is it? No, the referee's blown now. Well, what's he blown up for? The ball was kicked forward. Hammond played for it. Touched Halifax player, did it? Harry went for it and Hammond kicked it through. Hammond's asking the question, what for? And Carl Harrison is just saying about the referee being a little inconsistent. Anyway, scrum down. He's just explaining there, Carl Harrison. He's just saying the referee is blown it. Well, I mean, he is a pie eater, Daddle, isn't he?
Well, you've more grievance against pie eaters than I have. But Halifax bring it away again. Amone charging forward. Gooley wants a second crack at him. I think he's had one or two words. Moana, big hit there from the south here. On Bullseye, really hammering him to the ground. Michael Jackson, there's a swinging arm from Hammond, and another one. The third man in, but I think it's the official, Robert Connolly, has done as much to incense players rather than little niggles for themselves. They're just getting frustrated because of inconsistencies, and again Halifax kick doesn't go into touch, and that's been Halifax's problem. They failed to find the touch with the kick. Although Saints would have got the possession, they would have been near their own line, and Halifax perhaps could have forced an error, or at least restricted the progress of the Saints.
But it's Morley bringing the ball up. Harrison, big hit there. Boothroyd and Baldwin in as well, and that Boothroyd, he's certainly played well as since he's come on. Well, the ball reeked out. Advantage played. Chris Joint with the possession. Moana with the tackle. Newlove at dummy half. Saints well obviously in command, and they're going to get the 2 league points and complete the first league double of the season. Well, Matautia moves off the mark, didn't play the ball. His ball carrying arm had touched the ground, the elbow touched the ground, says the referee. No complaints for the Saints. 38 minutes gone in the second half. The Blue Sox with the penalty, 30 metres from the Saints line.
Perhaps the last word for Halifax, if they can string some passes together. Amanga linking up from fullback, out to Powell on for an hat-trick. If he can keep his feet, tries to squeeze the ball out to Tuilagi, but desperation, and the ball goes over the line again. All credit to Powell. He tried to keep it alive, and he tried to get the pass away to Tuilagi. Powell would have been on for his hat-trick, so perhaps the pass delayed a little until he'd realised he couldn't make it to the line, but throws the ball out of play, and it'll be a scrum to the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints left flank there, it's been exposed on a few occasions, hasn't it, by Powell. He scored 2 tries on that flank, but equally Sullivan scored 3 tries at the other end, like. Scrum down, head and feed to the Saints. Alan Hunt coming in field off the angled run from the base of the scrum. Newland at dummy half. Julian O'Neill cops a big one off Carl Harrison in the dying minutes now. A minute of normal time on my watch. Matautia looking to unload, he does so now. Good tackling by the Blue Sox there. Bouveng in with Michael Jackson. Blindside ploy. Cunningham inside to Joey Hayes. Just making his way back into the first team, obviously after being out for a season. The nasty leg injury. Long and Hammond work the loop. Now it's McVie.
Release, roll off. Release.
The Saints build up again. Bobby Golding puts it downfield. Angle kick, which doesn't find touch. Umanga has it this time. Approaching the full-time hooter. Just in the hands of the timekeepers. Obviously, we've got a little bit of stoppage time, Donald, for the incident with the video ref.
Well, yeah, but not enough time perhaps for Halifax to put into the lead anymore. It's silence now. Most people, I think, on the way out of this ground. I don't think there's many here from Halifax anyway. But Halifax put a little respect into the performance. And had they not had a couple of tries, disallowed and spilt the ball a couple of times, and the score perhaps could have been a little bit tighter. But it's that Knowsley Road mental block again, as they still seek the first win. 34 years I think it is since they won here in league football. It's that quarter-final Regal Trophy victory in 1986 or 87 I think it was. So it'll be another season before Halifax have a crack at the Saints at Knowsley Road for another win. That is, of course, depending on newspaper reports this morning that Halifax won't be in existence next season.
Oh, dear me. There you go. One of the founder members. And maybe, I know, problems with the Thrumhall ground and looking for new accommodation. And obviously, look at the Umanga there. On Cunningham, doing a bit of a facial, but it's Joey Hayes trying to scamper away from acting half. Harrison a little slow to get off, comes up with the ball. Oh, he was going to bounce it down in disgust. He's just going to have a word with Robert Connolly. Scrum down is given. Head and feet to the Blue Sox. Last throw of the dice.
Well, last chance again. Is it for Halifax? Pearson wrapped up by McVeigh breaking off the back of the scrum. Crowd counts down the time. The Seals wrapped up by Matautia. This will be the last play. Well, Walter hasn't gone directly. Bouldroyd as it ripped out from Sean Long. Up with it comes Jackson. And Jackson gives it to Seal with a pass that's a yard forward. But it doesn't matter in the end. The Blue Sox have perhaps blown it themselves in the second half without a good kicking game. They got close on a couple of occasions. They had a try disallow. But when it mattered, Saints had that extra bit of power. And Sullivan, it was with a try that really sealed the game. Super try through nearly the whole of the entire Halifax defence. Saints with 2 points and off to Australia, and Halifax facing 3 top Australian sides next season, next week, and the following 2, and it's a big job for John Pendlebury to pick his players up.
Yes, maybe so, Donald, but what it could have been, 32-20 with 20 minutes gone, or up to 24 minutes gone. Umanga had a try disallowed, which could have brought them back within 6 points, and then at the other end, Saints replied and went the full length, with Sullivan coming up with that one, and that ended the scoring at 38-20. But 22-12 at half-time. Final score, as I said, from Nosey Road, as the Saints fly out tomorrow to the other side of the world for the 3 games against the Australasians. Final score here at Nosey Road, 38-20. You've been with Micron. Join us for the next game.